Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Olarinde. A dissident faction of the main political party in Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray has seized control of key offices and a radio station in the regional capital Mekelle amid growing fears of a fresh conflict in that region. It follows a deepening power struggle within the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, which has raised concerns of a return to civil war. Mekelle residents say many people are withdrawing money from their bank accounts, fearing the security situation could deteriorate. On Tuesday, the same faction took control of Adigrat, Tigray's second largest city. In Kenya, a British man has been killed in a hit-and-run incident involving a vehicle in the motorcade of President William Ruto. The man, who has been named as 79-year-old Edgar Charles Frederick, died on Thursday after being struck in the accident on a main road in the capital, Nairobi. Police launched an investigation after the incident, and they've arrested the driver of a support vehicle that was traveling as part of President Ruto's official convoy of cars. Police spokesperson Michael Muchuri says Mr. Frederick had been visiting Kenya to see his sister and nephew, who are residents of the country. The European Union sees South Africa not just as a partner, but as a strategic ally, united by shared values and democracy. Well, this was the message from European Council President Antonio Costa at the recently concluded South Africa-EU summit in Cape Town. Mr. Costa, alongside European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, met the President Cyril Ramaphosa to reinforce diplomatic and economic ties. Meanwhile, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen also assured South Africa of the EU's full support, even as it prepares to take on the G20 presidency and host the upcoming EU-Africa summit later this year. Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Semosa, has more.
This summit comes at a crucial time as both sides seek to strengthen strategic ties in the face of rising global challenges. Now, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa is co-chairing the meeting alongside EU leaders, making a key moment in diplomatic relations between South Africa and the European Union. Now, the discussion, we do know that it will cover trade, security, and of course, cooperation, among others. The summit comes just weeks after the EU's top diplomat, Kaja Kallas, and several European nations backed South Africa in its role as the current G20 president. This follows a diplomatic snap by US State and Treasury secretaries who skipped key G20 meetings.
Today's summit focused on a number of issues that were covered and discussed during our summit. And they focus on strengthening our trade and investment relations, which are vital for the growth of our economies.
European Council President Antonio Costa highlights that the EU and South Africa are more than just partners, they are strategic allies.
And this summit has demonstrated that our partnership is not only strategic, but also essential. And we are fully committed to work together to strengthen our multilateral institutions by reforming them in the way to be more representative, and also to reform our the international financial institutions.
So, President Ramaphosa, dear Cyril, as Antonio already said, we are 100% behind you in making South Africa's G20 presidency a big success. This is going to be the first G20 summit ever held on the African continent. I think it's a powerful symbol.
Some members of parliament have expressed confidence in the outcomes of this summit.
I really believe that our relations with the EU and South Africa are very important, and so we welcome today's discussions that are taking place at an executive level. It's very important for us to establish that, given the fact that EU is one of our most important trade partners, and given the fact as well that there is global tension when it comes to trade agreements
from the perspective of the ACDP, we say to the developing and the developed countries that we too have to do what is good for South Africa.
As the European delegation and the South African government meet here in Parliament, members of Parliament here in South Africa have welcomed this meeting. They say that they can only hope that this meeting here, whatever that has been resolved, it will be indeed be translated into tangible actions. From Cape Town, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
The United States and Israel have discussed with 3 East African governments the forced displacement of Palestinians from Gaza to Sudan, Somalia, and its breakaway region of Somaliland. This is according to U.S. and Israeli officials quoted by U.S. media AP. Friday's report said officials from Sudan claimed to have rejected overtures from the U.S., while officials from Somalia and Somaliland say they are unaware of any contacts. Speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss the secret diplomatic initiative, U.S. and Israeli officials confirmed the contacts with Somalia and Somaliland, while the U.S. officials confirmed Sudan as well. They said it was unclear how much progress the efforts made or at what level the discussions took place. This development comes more than a month after U.S. President Donald Trump floated the idea of forcibly displacing Palestinians and taking over the Gaza Strip. It was roundly rejected by Palestinians and other countries in the Middle East, with many describing it as ethnic cleansing. Right now, an estimated 12.1 million women and girls and increasingly men and boys are at the risk of sexual violence in Sudan, and this is an 80% increase from the previous year. This is according to Catherine Russell, Executive Director of UNICEF, the UN Children's Agency, briefing the UN Security Council on the situation in the country.
Will require humanity. With its economy and social services system and infrastructure in near collapse and no end to the conflict in sight, we estimate that nearly 2/3 of Sudan's total population, more than 30 million people, will require humanitarian assistance this year. Famine is occurring in hotspots in at least 5 locations in Sudan, with an estimated 1.3 million children under 5 living in these areas. Over 3 million children under 5 are at imminent risk of deadly disease outbreaks, including cholera, malaria, and dengue, due to the failing health system. 16.5 million school-aged children, nearly an entire generation, are out of school. This is not just a crisis, it's a polycrisis affecting every sector, from health and nutrition to water, education, and protection. UNICEF continues to receive alarming reports of grave violations against children trapped in this conflict, including their recruitment and use by armed groups. Between June and December 2024, more than 900 incidents of grave violations against children were reported, with a staggering 80% involving the killing and maiming of children, primarily in Darfur, Khartoum, and Al Jazeera states. Sadly, we know these numbers are just a fraction of the reality. In Sudan today, sexual violence is pervasive. It is used to humiliate, dominate, disperse, forcibly relocate, and terrify an entire population. Right now, an estimated 12.1 million women and girls, and increasingly men and boys, are at risk of sexual violence. This is an 80% increase from the previous year.
On a lighter note, earlier this week, a Nigerian model and student made history with her groundbreaking attempt to walk 130.62 kilometers on a catwalk, officially setting a Guinness World Record, which has been verified for the longest distance walked by a model. Ololade Ayela Bola's feat involved completing 2,058 laps at the Indoor Sports Center of the University of Lagos. Well, she joins us now on Network Africa to talk about her journey to this record. Hello, Ololade. Thank you for speaking with us on the program.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. How did you feel, when you heard about your achievement being verified by the Guinness World Record?
It felt great. I felt really excited when I got the email from Guinness World Record officially, that I am now the record holder. You know, I just saw that dreams could really become a reality when you put in hard work, diligence, and effort. So it was really great. It was exciting. I actually cried. I cried. I remember I was shooting for my convocation, and I was all glammed up. And then I saw the email. I literally cried. It was really exciting. And I'm so proud of myself. So proud of myself.
And I can tell you Nigeria is also proud of you, because this is a record that you're breaking 41 years after, you know, the initial one. But what encouraged you to embark on this journey, and most especially picking this particular record to break?
Okay, so I've been modeling for over 7 years, and what prompted me to break this record was 2 incidents that happened last year. So I auditioned for 2 fashion weeks last year. You know, we have a lot of fashion weeks that happen in Lagos. So I auditioned for 2, and after my catwalk, one of the panelists was like, "Oh, you worked great, but you don't just fit in." And that struck me. I was like, why would you say such a thing as this? You just complimented me. You said I worked well, and now you're telling me I didn't fit in. So I thought to myself that there are definitely a lot of models, a lot of people out there that are facing challenges in their careers, or that have been told a no. And then streamlining to the modeling and fashion industry, I realized that we don't really have plus-size models with vitiligo, tribal marks. So yeah, I decided to create a stage where I'm going to have models from different walks of life, models with tribal mark, vitiligo. I had all those models work with me during my record attempt. So, and another thing was I wanted to inspire people to believe in themselves and to know that they can be whoever they choose to be, and that their dream is valid. So yes, those were my inspiration to attempt and break the record.
And it's a very inspiring motive. But have you received your certificate from the GWR?
Yes, I have. I've received it. I even took official photo shoot. I had my official shoot with the certificate already, and it's on my page.
So what is the next chapter for you?
I'm currently contesting for Miss World Nigeria. The end goal is Miss World. Yes, I'm contestant number 20, top 22, representing Oyo State.
Okay.
And this is a big opportunity for me, because my initiative Dare to Dream is going to be able to progress even further. And this time around, I would not just have the opportunity to inspire models, I would be inspiring the world at large. I want people to know that their dream is valid. We have a lot of people who are dared to dream, but statistics have shown that we even have a higher percentage of people, about 75% of people, who are actually locked in either they should take the first step of executing their dreams. And Dare to Dream is all about giving people the confidence to believe in their dreams, to believe in themselves, and the power to act on it. So yes, I'm contesting for Miss World, and I am hoping and praying that I win, because it's really going to mean the world to me. Also, I've always wanted to win Miss World. So once I win Miss World Nigeria, I'll be heading to Miss World in 2025. Nigeria, vote for me, and Nigerians, vote for me and wish me luck.
All right, then we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Ololade Ayelabola, the Guinness World Record holder for a long distance walk on a catwalk. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
The United States House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Africa has given President Donald Trump the green light to impose stringent sanctions on Nigeria in response to the widespread killing of Christians in the country. The decision followed a congressional hearing on Wednesday, during which lawmakers condemned the Nigerian government for failing to protect Christian communities from escalating violence. The committee also cited a 2024 report by the Observatory for Religious Freedom in Africa, which revealed that Nigerians accounted for 90% of all Christians killed worldwide each year. The report documented that between October 2019 and September 2023, a staggering 55,910 people were killed, while 21,000 others were abducted by terrorist groups operating in the region. The congressional panel strongly criticized the government for failing to address religiously motivated violence despite constitutional protections for religious freedom. Well, China says its relations with Africa, especially Nigeria, is at its best in history as both continue to move towards a shared future. This was emphasized by the Consul General Yan Yuqing at a press briefing in Lagos, highlighting the address by Foreign Minister Wang Yi at the conclusion of the two sessions meetings in Beijing. She explained that China remains Africa's largest trading partner and has been for the last 16 years, and that China remains ready to deliver on its partnerships.
China has helped Africa build or upgrade nearly 100,000 kilometers of roads and more than 10,000 kilometers of railways. In the past 3 years alone, Chinese enterprises created more than 1.1 million new jobs in Africa. According to China Customs statistics, bilateral trade between China and Africa reached 2.1 trillion renminbi, approximately 280 billion US dollars in 2024, a year-on-year increase of 6.1% and a 24th surge since Forking's inception, with an average annual growth rate of 14.2%. China has remained Africa's largest trading partner for 16 consecutive years. Behind these figures lies the tangible improvement of infrastructure and livelihoods in African nations. To African brothers and sisters, China-Africa cooperation is visible, tangible, and truly beneficial.
Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. Saeed Aziz, a University of Lagos student, has built an artificial intelligence text-to-speech model with a Nigerian accent named Yarn GPT. Aziz embarked on the building of this application to help him improve his skills and chances of securing an AI role in the future.
As Saeed Aziz walks into the Madhouse creative space with a friend in the University of Lagos, the quiet atmosphere contrasts with the big ideas that have come to life here. A final year student of the Mechanical Engineering Department with a deep passion for artificial intelligence, his journey into coding began in an unexpected place, on his phone during the lockdown. Like many young Nigerians, the pandemic was a period of self-discovery. While some found new hobbies, Saeed found code. Fast forward a few years, and Saeed has developed Yarn GPT, a text-to-speech AI model designed to sound unmistakably Nigerian.
Tí wọ́n ti ń tẹ ara wọn lásìkò tí wọ́n ń bá nǹkan àwẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ àìkú gẹ́gẹ́ bí àlàyé tí alukoro ọlọ́pàá Bauchi Amegwa fi ṣe ní ilé-iṣẹ́ kan tó wà lójú ọ̀nà.
Yarn GPT came about the fact that I saw someone build a text-to-speech model, but that text-to-speech model wasn't built for Nigerian support really. It was built for like general. It was built for like, let me say, European English, right? So I just saw that project and I thought of it would make sense if something like this can be done for like a Nigerian audience, since we don't have much support for that. Yes, so that was what came about Yarn GPT.
Yarn GPT takes written text and converts it into speech. But what makes it unique is its deep understanding of Nigerian accents. The base model originally supported only text tokens, so Saeed took things a step further by integrating audio components to make it truly authentic.
State's first senior House of Assembly Speaker Moji Solanere, and that result on Monday.
So the innovation I added to that model was that I added like some audio tokens to the model, because that model, the base model only had support for like text tokens. So I added audio tokens to the model, and I trained the model to understand those audio tokens that was given to it. So it wasn't trained from scratch, but if you look at it from the scope that the base model I used didn't have any support for audio, didn't understand audio, you can also say it was trained, like the audio part was like trained from scratch. The most popular autoregressive model is ChatGPT. But the way it works, the way autoregressive model works is they predict one thing, they take that one thing they predict, put it back and predict another thing. So the way YANGPT works is you give it words and it predicts audio for that word. That's the way it works.
The development process wasn't easy. Saeed started working on the idea in November 2024, and by January the 1st, 2025, YANGPT was complete. A 2-month sprint, including 3 weeks of rigorous model training. Python was his primary tool. But the real challenge was in the coding. It was majorly data and computing power. Gathering high-quality Nigerian speech data was no small feat. Saeed got materials from open-source platforms and movies, ensuring that the voice output was as close to real-life speech as possible. This is Saeed's first foray into building impactful tech. One of his earlier projects was Screenshotter, a Twitter bot designed to automatically take screenshots of tweets. It was simple but effective.
You could screenshot a tweet with your phone, right? But what this bot offers is that it makes the screenshot beautiful. Yeah, so it was a project I did in 2022 or 2023. I can't remember really. So basically, the way that project came about was I saw somebody build like a screenshot bot on Twitter. I just wanted to do my own. I checked out what the person had done. I couldn't see the source code of what he did. So I just went out in search of how to do my own. So basically, I coded like 90% of that on my phone back then. And I put the project out, and it was just like a project that I created for my room. I shared it to some of my friends to help me repost then. And suddenly, that project started growing from zero followers. It currently has about 170,000 followers on Twitter. So that's like my most significant project, because this boy in the lab boy building something, and the project was actually global at that point, because I see people actually use it, and I'm like, come on, let me build this,
The attention to detail is what sets YANGPT apart, making it more relatable and usable for everyday Nigerians. And the best part, YANGPT is now open source, meaning other developers can build on it, improve it, and adapt it for different needs. The potential applications for YANGPT are vast, according to Saeed, from customer service chatbots that actually sound Nigerian to assistive technology that reads aloud for users. Saeed says he's already working on a read aloud function to enhance the experience for local users. Saeed Aziz is a prime example of the innovation brewing within Nigeria's tech ecosystem.
And that's it on the program for today and for the week. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde. Have a lovely weekend.